we are actually getting a real Siri AI. So the things that we were promised years ago, we may actually get now. Siri will be able to add stuff to your calendar.
Apple Intelligence for us. I just find it so funny that they dub AI Apple Intelligence. Yeah, I mean, sometimes we get caught up in this, but like we talk about the progression of AI and how it's going to change the world, and it's changing things and it's moving really fast. But he also brings a breath of fresh air where it's like, AI is still pretty dumb. Like,
Yeah.
you know?
How many
And
L's are in Google?
Exactly. And then it'll say, there are 3 L's in Google. It's like, no, there's one. It's like, oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Good catch. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the BedTech Show. This is Ben and Ethan. We've got an action-packed episode for you all tonight. We are just going to wing it, but we've got some things that we're going to talk about. Ben, what do we have going on?
Yeah, so a variety of things that we kind of just chatted about, but for the most part, I think the big news that I think we want to chat about is Apple's WWDC, and then also some wins for Xbox that we're starting to like a little bit more and more with the new CEO of Xbox. So yeah, kind of interesting. And then obviously there's a couple side topics here and there that we might dive into, but I think for the most part we'll stick with those because who doesn't love talking about Apple and Microsoft?
Yes, the two favorite things.
Two favorite things, yep. Good old American companies.
Yes, good old
So
America.
let's dive in, dude. Let's talk about Apple WWDC.
All right.
What were some standouts for you? There's one main standout.
Yeah, there's a couple of standouts. For the most part, it seemed like a very unusual WWDC. Usually we have a lot of very wild wild for Apple. Wild features to their software that are coming out. It's just usually like feature after feature that's coming out, but a lot of this seemed like tweaks to already existing things to make things a little bit better. Their Photos app and how that loads and takes pictures was going to work up to 70% faster, and sharing via what is their AirPlay or whatever that one is called now. It's escaping me. That's going to be a little bit faster now, so it might actually work when you're just sharing through there. They did talk a little bit about parental controls, which I found interesting. You know, everyone's heard get your mom an iPhone. Now the focus is let's get your kids an iPhone. So they put some features to make it a little bit easier so that you can get your kids an iPhone. And the biggest thing is Apple Intelligence, new update. We are actually getting a real Siri AI. So the things that we were promised years ago, we may actually get now. And Siri will be able to add stuff to your calendar, which she was already supposed to do.
Yeah, for sure. Good old Siri Apple Intelligence for us. I just find it so funny that they dub AI Apple Intelligence still. Yeah, interesting stuff. I was actually kind of excited for the parental controls, even though I don't feel like I'll be giving my kids an Apple smartphone or Apple device by any means in the near future. Still, it's good to see that they are making improvements there because for the most part, you don't think of good parental controls with Apple. It's not something you think of. Security, yes, but parental controls, no. So, and obviously Siri AI, good upgrade. I don't know. I'll have to engage with it first. What are your thoughts on I want to ask you about the photo thing though, because from my understanding, it'll use AI to adjust some of your photos. Right?
Yeah. So there's going to be a new spatial reframe feature that lets you use AI to adjust your perspective of the image, which is really interesting. Like you'll be able, like generally when you take an image, it's pretty static and you have that perspective from when you take it. This is going to allow you to rotate that perspective using AI. It's going to be a little interesting how that works. I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know if it's going to be just like a party trick or actually something that people will use. I'll probably just use it maybe once just to try it out, but I don't know that I would necessarily reuse it. There is going to be a way to also expand the photo a little bit. So once you take a picture, it'll use AI to add about 25 more to the overall picture in the frame. So you can kind of like zoom out. And I wonder if you can just keep adding more and more to each photo and see how far you can get with AI. So that'll be interesting to test out. What are your thoughts on the new Photos AI?
I don't I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, if it's doing it automatically, that's where I think I'll have like an issue because I don't know if I want it to change photos necessarily. I don't know. I think I need to have a better understanding of the extent of it and if you are able to turn it on or turn it off. I assume you can, but I didn't look into it too much. So anyway, I don't know. I think it's exciting to an extent, but at the same time, I feel like we're getting to a place where we're leveraging AI for every little nuanced thing that there's not going to be any kind of like imperfection allowed in content
Right.
and media. And I don't like that because then things aren't genuine, things aren't reality. It's everything is kind of smoothed over
Right.
and kind of glassed over, and I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, it's like the best part of being human is the imperfection
Hmm.
in art and in stuff that humans generate. And now with this removing all of that, it takes out it takes out the human element a little.
Yeah, to an extent for sure. I agree.
Yeah. I want to get your take on this. So, we've talked about this a couple of years ago when they branded AI as Apple Intelligence.
Yeah.
What do you think of this? We're a couple years into this now. Apple is still behind Apple Intelligence and not calling it what it really is, AI. What are your thoughts on
I think it's just Apple has a very strong brand. We all know that. The world knows that. And that brand has been built based on innovative and quality products. And I understand the brand loyalty and the brand impact. I think that it is an egotistical play on the brand. And I think it provides zero value to the world,
that?
honestly.
I agree.
Like, this is such a dumb marketing ploy for you guys to like stroke your ego, calling AI Apple Intelligence. Like, get the freak out of here with that. That's such trash. Like, no one cares about that. We don't believe that you are doing anything special. There's multiple other companies that have AI much better than what you're producing. In fact, I mean, Siri AI is backed by Apple Intelligence, which is backed by Google Gemini. It's like,
Gemini.
come on, like, get out of here. The fact that they're branding it Apple Intelligence, it's dumb. And a part of me like sees that, and I know we like laugh about how dumb it is, but a part of me sees that and I think, I feel like you're kind of cheapening your brand a little bit by claiming like, oh, AI is Apple Intelligence. We're so good, even though they're not even really developing it fully in house. And
Yeah.
to me, in my mind, I just think you are acting like an insecure kid who has to like I said, stroke their ego and like
Mm-hmm.
puff out their chest and say, no, like we're front runners to AI because we have Apple Intelligence. I don't know. I think it's dumb, but that's me personally. So my computer's wigging out right now, so I apologize if things are going crazy.
No, you're good. Yeah, I agree. I think it's a cop out, and it I think it was them wanting to play it really safe when AI was kind of starting, and they didn't want to call it AI because they didn't want to be part of that. I think they were playing it really safe, trying to go with Apple Intelligence, and now I think it's here to stay whether we want it to or not. And I think Apple just needs to accept that and move on. Call it what it is.
Yeah, call it what it is. I mean, they already have it in the name, Siri AI. It's like,
Yeah.
But I am excited for Siri AI. I am excited for that. I think it may finally live up to what all of our expectations were for what
Hmm.
Siri could do. For years, we've been wanting Siri to like take action on things, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just
Opening a web browser.
yeah, dude, you called it. Oh my gosh, bro. You seriously called exactly what I was thinking. It's the most annoying thing where you're like, hey Siri, what is this? Or can you explain this? And it's like, I found Google search results or Safari search results for what is whatever, you know? And I'm like, I could Google that myself. I don't need you to do that. So frustrating. So yeah, hopefully it does more than that.
Yeah, from what I understand, it'll be like you can actually have conversations with it. So it'll, I guess, if you're lonely, there's that option too. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
got Google Gemini under the hood. It claims that it'll make it more capable, more conversational, and it will be in a standalone app now, which is a little bit interesting. So you'll have a little bit more control over some settings in there, as opposed to Siri being
Interesting.
buried in a settings menu that you can never find.
Yeah, interesting. I think they're trying to make it similar to maybe the interface of Claude and
Yep.
ChatGPT.
Yeah. So I know there's someone on YouTube that always does like conversations with AI and just to do stupid things.
Yeah, Husk.
And
I love
yeah,
him. He's so funny.
yeah. And so it'll be interesting to see if he brings in Siri AI to his mix
Yeah,
of things that go on.
dude, I love his content. It's so good. People talk. I mean, sometimes we get caught up in this, but like we talk about the progression of AI and how it's going to change the world and it's changing things and it's moving really fast. But he also brings a breath of fresh air where it's like AI is still pretty dumb. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
How
and
many L's are in Google?
exactly, exactly. And then it'll say there are three L's in Google, and it's like no, there's one. It's like, oh yeah, you're right, you're
You're
right.
right. Good catch.
Good catch, yeah,
I'm like,
whatever.
no, you're supposed to catch that.
Yeah, stupid. Anyway, yeah, I love his content just because it's a breath of fresh air, I think, in the conversation of AI. But
I I
yeah,
did find it interesting during WWDC. They teased their potential foldable phone
yeah,
because they had references to like fold state and angle degrees, and it's basically like saying, "Tell me you're releasing a foldable phone without saying you're releasing a foldable."
exactly. Like they hinted at it. They hinted at the liquid glass and everything. And so I'm curious to see what a foldable phone from Apple will look like. I don't think I'll ever buy a foldable phone. That's me
No,
personally.
if Apple did a trifold phone, I would be all up for.
Trifold phone, huh?
Yeah.
And then it would turn into like a tablet.
Hmm.
Okay, you would be down for that.
I would be down for that because I was really interested in the Samsung trifold that they made for like 2 weeks and then stopped production and said we're not making any more of these.
Mm, dang. It's just like not cost effective or just like
Yeah,
product
not
wasn't
cost
working?
effective and it was so expensive that
Yeah.
and then now people that have them are scalping them for tens of thousands of dollars on eBay.
Gosh.
So,
Jeez.
but I mean, yeah, because I love that concept. One of the things that I've always hated about foldable phones is that when you open it, you just get this big square, which for consuming content and videos, which you would do on a tablet like that,
Hmm.
it makes it hard because you still have these black bars that it's you're not utilizing the full real estate. But with a trifold phone, you get the full you get a rectangle type of landscape that's closer to a 16:9 ratio, and it would be better for consuming content such as
Yeah,
videos.
that's actually a good point. And just in general, bigger screen,
Yeah,
which would be nice.
because bigger is better.
Bigger is always better.
Exactly.
Yeah, that'd be a thick phone though.
It would be. Yes.
Thick boy. Unless like the base is like your standard iPhone as the middle section, and then the screens that fold in are really thin. But then how durable is that? And you get into
Yeah.
other issues. Is it level on the back? And yeah, design wise.
I don't know. I think Samsung's first iteration of it was really good. It was as thick as a USB-C port. So, I mean, slightly thicker than that because they had to have that for charging. But the iteration of it was good. The hinges were well put together from the reviews that I saw. So it'll be interesting to see what Apple does and how they handle the crease in the screen and the hinge and dust. This won't
The
be a phone. Yeah, it won't be a phone that you can take swimming. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I can't get over like the creases. That's the issue I
Yeah,
have.
I'm not a huge fan of the crease either.
Have you seen Huawei's foldable screen?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's Huawei. And like the screen, if you it like folds and then I think it disconnects and then folds, and then when you unfold it, it connects again, and and then that way there's no like crease. It's
Hmm.
not one singular piece. But then when you unfold it, it connects, and it's almost seamless. I think that's how it is, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Or maybe it's a foldable laptop. Have you seen that? I
No, I have.
think when it folds, no, it is one piece. I
Yeah,
thought it was.
they did. Huawei makes a tri-fold phone also. Their
Let me see.
iteration of it is a little bit different because the when it folds, that screen is on the outside, or part of that screen is, and that's kind of
I
like
see.
your main phone screen,
Yeah, yeah. You're
which is
right.
good
I'm
because
looking at that.
it cuts down on costs for the phone because you don't have to have an additional screen, which was kind of the
On the
downside
outside,
to the Samsung trifold. But
because it would be like on the back side when it was like when it was
yeah,
opened up and then closed, it'd be on the front. Yeah.
and so but with this, then that screen's like always constantly exposed to your pocket, and it's always exposed to the elements. So it's a bit of a trade-off, I guess, if you're up for that.
I want to say maybe I remember not thinking of Huawei then. Shoot, there was one. I thought it was Huawei, but it's a Chinese manufacturer where I saw the technology where it's like you fold it and the screens disconnect, like two pieces of glass, they disconnect. And then when you open it, the two pieces of glass are flush and they connect. And I want to say it was a phone, but maybe it was just monitors. I don't know. I gotta look it up. But I thought it
Okay.
was Huawei, but maybe not. Anyway, interesting stuff. I'm interested to see what Apple will publish or produce, but I already know I'm probably not buying it.
Yeah, I'm
You know?
probably not going to buy it either. And unfortunately, it'll probably sell a lot because there will be people that will buy it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. What are your thoughts on Tim Cook's remarks at WWDC? He kind of gave like his like closing remarks as he's like
Yeah, it was
stepping
kind
down.
of his farewell speech.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think like he honestly, I think he's done a really good job leading Apple and getting it into the state that they are. So, and I also think that the new CEO is going to be really good and hopefully get Apple back to the I guess the core of building great products.
Yeah. I agree. I think Tim, for the most part, did a pretty good job. But I'm excited for what the new CEO will bring
Mm-hmm.
because he's the new CEO is on his history, like career history, is like product side, right?
Yeah, which I think is what you need for a company that creates hardware.
Yeah, John Turnus. Yeah, Vice President of Hardware Engineering. Oh yeah, dude, like that.
I
To
mean,
me,
it makes sense.
yeah, for sure. I agree.
I mean, it's because I mean, we kind of learned that with how Boeing has functioned for the last several years, with
Yeah.
not having a CEO for the longest time that was engineering or knew a thing about planes.
Yeah. Finance only focus. You brought in your finance bros. And so as a result, you're cutting costs, but at the expense of quality product. And so you have Boeing plane issues, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I
So
mean, like,
hopefully, go ahead.
yeah, like I'm just thinking, like, if I was ever running a company, I as cool as it would to be like in these textbook studies that MBA classes and business classes learn, I would not want to be a textbook case study for having the worst record for so many failures in airplanes just because leadership was not focused on the hardware and the product.
Yeah. 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 It's sad to see there. So hopefully John Turnus at Apple kind of turns the page and we have a new story, new chapter ahead of us with Apple.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for
Speaking,
Siri AI. I want to get there, but
yeah, me too.
we'll see what it does. But yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead. Sorry.
we'll have to
Speaking of new
test it out.
chapters.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of new chapters, we've got the latest Xbox Series S or Series X that is going back to its roots for the 25th year anniversary, and it is now the translucent green, which will be a special edition OG green console to celebrate the 25th anniversary.
Yeah, it's really good looking. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's also coming with a special edition translucent green controller, and it's the start of their going back to console exclusives and bringing those back, which I think is a good play for Xbox and something that Xbox fans have wanted for years and something that they have needed to do for a long time.
Yeah, I also like that she killed off any kind of like AI initiative for gaming, like gaming co-pilot.
Yes.
I think that was a pretty good move overall.
Yeah. I loved Asha Sharma's comment for that, which was no gamer was excited about it. And so
Yeah, yeah, very true.
and so she was just like, I just made the decision to cut it.
Yeah, if no one in the industry is excited for it, like to me, that's consume. To me, that is like consumer minded, right? That's very consumer focused, and I think she is really, for the most part, consumer minded. Obviously, she has first fiduciary duty is for stakeholders, right?
Right.
Totally get that, and I think she understands that. But I think she also understands that like the foundation of good ROI and good value and to grow, you need to have a good customer base. And that means your consumers need to be happy. And so she understands like, okay, if I want to actually grow the value of this company over time, that comes from the loyalty and the brand from the consumers. And we got to get on their good side because they had some hard knocks over the last couple of years.
But yeah. I mean they've raised the prices to an astronomical space, and especially with Game Pass, that was raised to an unfathomable price. But at least that's starting to come back down, and they're looking at ways to bring more value to that. And now, also, latest news that I learned from there is that the Asha Sharma did say that the newest generation of console is going to need to be affordable, and that
Yeah.
no gamer is going to want to pay over $1,000 for a console.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she mentions that like current margins can't continue and just kind of saying like, hey, we need to have like a reset here.
Yeah.
There was a warning that like there is a RAM crisis and there's shortages for computer memory. But I think she is trying to be creative on like how do we make this economical
Mm-hmm.
as much as possible while also hitting margins.
Yeah. And I mean, even if she were to say, "Hey, due to like current market, we've tried everything that we can to get these prices as low as we can, but this is where it has to be." I think people would be more okay with that than if they were just to say, "Well, due to market conditions, we have to raise the price."
I agree. I totally agree.
So
Yeah.
I do like that she's being a lot more transparent in this
Yes.
new era of Xbox.
Yes. That's exactly what I was going to say. Is I think a lot of people were upset or have been upset with the console manufacturers because they just are making decisions and setting prices and doing things without real explanations as to why.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes it look disingenuous and it makes it look like you're just kind of greedy and hungry for profit.
Right.
But she's coming in and saying like, no, I'm trying to like make amends here and come to the table and build a bridge with our consumers and be transparent. I think for the most part, people are responding positively to her as the CEO.
I think so too. And it would probably be really hard for her to come, like the background that she has coming into this role and doing what she's doing. However, I think she's doing a great job and giving the fans what they want and what they need. So it's exciting to be an Xbox fan, and it's exciting to see these new changes that they're going with.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she did a lot of changes internally. She like overhauled a lot of leadership
Mm-hmm.
and, bringing in new leadership and trying to really revamp Xbox from the inside out. So I think it's exciting to see, change can be really bad, but sometimes change can be really good. Hopefully it's for the good. So far, I think it's leaning towards that, but obviously can't always just go and say, "Oh yeah, it's amazing now." After just a couple
Right.
of changes, like we're still in the early stages, so we'll
Yeah.
see what happens.
There's a lot of bad blood still there.
Sure. Yep. But overall, exciting stuff. What I thought was interesting, speaking of Microsoft, is Microsoft is like a huge investor in OpenAI, and OpenAI filed their S1 to go public officially, and so that's official. But Microsoft is building their own AI and their own AI platform, and it's not going to be reliant on ChatGPT. And I thought that was pretty interesting because even though they've invested a lot in OpenAI, they're trying to build their own and essentially really enter the game of AI on their own and be their own player, right? And I think that's where like a lot of people initially expected Microsoft to be, but because they were so involved with OpenAI, they just leveraged that tool as much as
Yeah.
they can. So,
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. This is going to be known as Microsoft AI. It's not going to rely on any third parties, and it's going to hopefully be able to kind of get Copilot out of the micro slop that it already is. Because I don't know, we've talked about this a lot. I'm not a huge fan of Microsoft's Copilot to begin with.
yeah, I don't
It's,
know anyone that is.
I mean, it doesn't do anything very well. It barely gets by at doing the job. So it'll be nice that they'll have their own AI. They'll have their own AI and stop being so dependent on OpenAI.
Yeah, I agree. I don't I don't think I've like seen anything other than the announcement of them developing their own AI. And so I'm curious to know like I know I've seen like titles of news articles saying like, oh, they debut their in-house AI model. So I'm curious when they're going to make it public and what their pricing is going to be and how that's going to work. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like they have a lot to catch up on.
Yeah, I mean they're it's almost like they're in the same boat as Apple when they were, because I mean, was relying on OpenAI too for their Apple intelligence, and now they're relying on Google. So,
Yeah.
for how big these companies are, I would have thought that they would have been in the AI front a little bit more than they are.
Agreed, but I think this goes back to another point we've said in a previous episode of podcast. I think we talked about this. This AI movement reminds me a lot of like the .com boom. And then also when companies were switching from on-prem to cloud. Both of these situations were huge development in technology and the way business goes about between B2B and then also business to consumers.
Mm-hmm.
And companies that were legacy foundation model, they have a really hard time adjusting and adapting to whatever the next generation of technology is. So on-prem legacy software companies that were on-prem had a really hard time jumping and becoming software companies that were in the cloud-based software companies. It's really hard for them. It was really hard for them to transition. Now we're seeing the same thing where companies that are online in the cloud that are not AI focused and AI based, they're having a really hard time switching now and integrating AI into their product because they're so robust that it's really difficult for them to embed it into their products that they currently have and then what's going on forward. And so it's this uphill battle to try and embed it into everything you've already developed and then continue forward with it. Whereas other companies that are AI first, they're built around AI. I mean, it's already there. It's built in,
Right.
and they're moving so fast. We're seeing it in like financial and accounting software. We're seeing it in consumer tech. We're seeing it in like business services. We're seeing it in everything. And so Microsoft, Apple, obviously legacy companies, giant tech companies, but not AI first companies, right?
Yeah.
OpenAI, Anthropic, they are.
Yeah, that was their sole thing that they were working on.
Yeah. So they're able to build that out. Google has done a really good job though. Google has done an incredible job of keeping up and being a big competitor in that. I think that was really good of them. Meta, I mean, you don't really hear anything from Meta.
I think Google, the reason why they've been so successful is just because of the amount of data that they have. And so from that, they were able to hurry and pivot to something new and innovative without there being such a hard ramp up period, if that makes sense.
And going off that, I think also the core product is very related to how large language models work. Querying, language results, like Google versus OpenAI, very similar, very adjacent in the process and interaction with the user. Whereas Microsoft, it's not adjacent at all. They're not similar in product by any means,
Right.
Like Microsoft Suite, Microsoft Office, that's not like interaction chatbot, right?
Right.
So, but you make a good point. The data, like the query data, the conversation data, the interaction data, that's so crucial for them, for Google.
Yeah. Because I mean, like, if you just think of like people putting in stuff into a Google search, they get like all of that natural language of how people communicate.
Yes, exactly.
And understanding like how people communicate, I think, is really helpful in how a large language model can communicate back to an individual.
Agreed. Totally agree. Yeah, that's actually a really good point as to how they're able to adapt and build Gemini and then move forward with it. I laugh because I can't get over what was the first name of Gemini? Was it a Bard?
Yes, it was Bard. It's close
Bro,
to barf.
I cannot believe they went with that. Like, why would they? Who gave the green light to make that public?
I don't.
Bard. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. There's a YouTube video. There's a YouTube video. It was released in 2024, and it's from Google, I think. And it says how to use Google Bard like a pro. I don't want to use. I don't want to know how to use Google Bard.
Yeah.
Terrible name.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Gemini is infinitely better.
So much better. Sounds so much better. Anyway, interesting stuff. I'm curious to see what happens with Microsoft's AI. I wonder if Meta is going to be starting to feel left out and make some moves in the AI space.
They're trying with their Ray-Bans, with their Meta glasses.
Yeah.
But it's showing that it's falling behind in the race.
Yeah, you just don't hear about them. You don't hear about it. Like they're never a part of the conversation, you know?
So, but yeah, I agree. But we want to hear from you in the comments. What are your takes on the AI space? Do you think Microsoft getting their new AI is something good, or will it just be another one in the pack and fall by the wayside? Let us know.
Yeah. Speaking of being a part of the conversation, tell us your thoughts and be a part of the conversation.
Yeah, we're going to try and do a little bit better to be involved in the community. I know there's a couple of you out there that have actively commented on our videos, so we appreciate that. We appreciate the feedback, and we're going to do better. We will be better.
Onward and upward.
Yes. But speaking of onward and upward, give us a thumbs up so we can be onward and upward with this podcast. It does really help out our channel. If you dislike this video, that other button seems to work all right as well. Make sure you send this to somebody you dislike. They could use this in their life. As always, ring-a-ling that ding-a-ling button so you never miss out on any content as it's posted on the channel. Until next time, stay classy and have a great evening.
Peace.